being a content creator is just cringy. It's embarrassing. Everyone's doing it. It's time consuming. I just don't want to do it. Well, you're wrong. In this episode, we're going to break down the myths behind content creation and find out the truth behind all these negative perceptions. So, Ams, the most popular thing people say is, I don't want to be a content creator because it's cringy, it's embarrassing, I don't want to start dancing around on TikTok. What are your thoughts on it?
So, defining cringiness, I think what my perception is that it's embarrassing. It feels like, why the viewer will perceive whatever I create as, why are they doing that, right? And I think that's what everyone thinks, that people will watch their content or read their content and be like, that's so cheesy, that's so this and that. Are you embarrassed of any content that you ever created?
I think some of the early...
Anything you've ever posted, be it a caption, be it a video, be it a photo, be it an Insta story, have you ever been embarrassed?
So, I'm not embarrassed of the content we put out with the podcast, stuff like that. I'm embarrassed of some of the pictures I put up on the Instagram from back in the days, like, the topless ones with like sunglasses. I'm embarrassed of that, right? Because, like, we'll probably talk about, but it wasn't me. I saw other people doing it. I was, medical elective, first time on Instagram, and it felt like Instagram was a platform to do these type of photos, even though I don't think it was authentic. I wasn't being credible.
So that's what's cringe, and you've nailed it already, right? What's cringe is when you're not authentic to who you are, right? But you might be a poet, you might be a dancer, you might be someone who's learning how to dance, right? If it's authentic to you, right, you might feel embarrassed at first because you're not very good at it. But if it's authentic to you, as you learn, as you get better, your content gets better. It doesn't become cringe anymore. It's cringe, I think, when you feel like you're pretending in front of camera. You're pretending to be a musician when you're not, or you're trying to play something and you feel like, that's cringe because it's not very good. Yeah, because you don't even like playing music or whatever. So I think it's cringe when it's not authentic to who you are, right? Why do you think that stops a lot of people just from getting started, though?
I think the process of content creation, it means there is a sense of vulnerability. There's a sense of you're putting yourself out there. When you realize that there are people behind the camera out there that will be looking at your videos, your reels, or read your articles, it's that sense of, what are they going to think about me? It's out there in the wild. What if I do something wrong? And the concern of, we're very self-conscious. I think it's called a spotlight effect, right? Where we feel everyone's looking at us doing what we're doing. And I don't know what your thoughts on that, if that's what you experienced in the beginning.
As in, what do you mean? So let's talk about content. So we're content creators. Let's talk about when we started content creation.
So how did you feel when you were on camera recording for the first time? How did you feel?
That's what's difficult. I think that's what's difficult about everyone getting over it. It feels cringe because you've got a camera. We've got a camera right now facing in our faces, right? And you're like, oh my God, everyone's going to watch this. Everyone's going to see what words we choose, how we talk. They're going to pick up on our lisp. They're going to pick up on all of these various things. But I think if you get over that barrier, that's what really connects you with the world, right? Once you get over that, it's cringe phase, right? You suddenly realize you're saying stuff that people are thinking, and people connect with you. And suddenly people say, hey Abdul, can I have a Zoom call with you? Can I book some time in with you? Can you coach me? Can you mentor me? Why? Because you were ballsy enough to put yourself out there, get over that cringe sort of notion, and connect with people. You're relatable because you're vulnerable, you're being honest, you're saying stuff that people are thinking but too scared to put out because it's cringe, right? So no, I think if you talked about embarrassment, about what you said, about, yes, when I was first exploring the different types of content, I could say I was a bit embarrassed. Now looking back at it, or looking back at our first podcast about how I was speaking, I could say it like that, right? I was trying to speak formally and being too aware of my words, right? But that's what content creation is about. You get better with every day, with every post, with every video that you record. I think that's my take on this whole cringe.
And I think this part leads to the second thing. It's what you may think is embarrassing, what you may think is cringy, may relate to someone on such a level where they resonate with you and they want to consume even more content from you. So it goes to the point where everyone seems to be doing content creation, right? And a lot of people think that it's a very competitive space. And I think one of the reasons that hold people back is like, oh, do you know what? Think of how many medical YouTubers there are, how many medical Instagram pages there are, right? Yeah. So if someone were to come to say, and you mentioned someone that, work that's keen about it, is the space is too crowded. There's 10 other doctors out there creating the type of content I want to do. Do you think that should be a barrier to hold them back? How do you describe that situation?
So we know what the data shows. The data, first of all, shows that we're only at the start of the content creator economy phase, right? So that if you go by numbers, if you go by data, there is so much more room for people to enter. Number two, we know that people's experiences are unique. Your teachers, your mentors, your coaches are very different to mine. Your background, very different to mine. Your perspective, different to mine. The way you think, different to mine, right? So everyone is unique in their own way. And what you'll find is that people will gravitate towards those traits. If you're authentic about who you are and your content is authentic to you as a whole, right? You naturally attract people to you. It's about your own tribe, your own herd, right? That people want to consume from you. So I don't think it's too competitive. The data shows it's not too competitive. I think going forwards, there's so much more room for people to have their own sort of niche, their own style, their own experiences to put out there. What's unique is this, right? The food market I've been looking at, right? Because of my wife, right? So I thought at one point, the food market is saturated. Everyone's posting a video about a restaurant and stuff like that. Then a new creator comes along, a new voice, a new way, a new style, a new transition enters. And then, so for example, shout out the Food Don here. If you've watched the Food Don videos, it's very different. The way he reviews like the restaurants that he goes to, he's absolutely boomed. I think Mr. Beast even reached out to him to get him to, I think, promote his restaurant at one point. So you've got, he came onto the scene a lot later after a lot of other foodies, right? So why isn't it the same in other spheres? The other thing is this: professionals now. Yeah. They are the next wave of people to enter, right? Doctors, med students have already latched on. They've realized that I need to create content. I need to create a personal brand. But if you've seen, for example, the law scene now, there's solicitors now on TikTok and Instagram talking about the law. Why? Because it's a lead generator. People will be able to contact them, will know more about them in certain situations, right? So interestingly, I think the future is full of professionals, right, who are going to capture this, enter this space actually. So your consultants, your lawyers, your bankers, your doctors who are already doing it. It's a ripe market, and we're only at the beginning. What's your thoughts? Too competitive?
So I agree. We're just at the beginning stage, especially for professionals in terms of competition. But I think if you flip it on its head and see it from a different perspective, where I think competition is actually good for creators, because it lets you level up with everyone else. You learn things from other people that are in the same space creating a similar type of content. You then learn to add your own creativity, your own passion, your own flair, and you're doing stuff that lets you stand out. Imagine you're the only creator in the world, right? And you're talking about your journey into medical school, or you're talking about your journey into an investment bank, right? Your content over time may get boring. It may be the same old stuff, but imagine there's 3 or 4 other people all doing different stuff. It lets you become more creative. It lets you exercise those creative muscles and learn, and you learn how to stand out and make more fun and engaging content.
Exactly. So by now, hopefully we've convinced you that you need to start. But now you're thinking, oh, it's too expensive and it's too time consuming. Let's start off with the expenses, right? A lot of people think you need to have really expensive lights, really expensive cameras, really expensive microphones, etc. Tell us the truth about that.
This video is being recorded on an iPhone camera. There is no bigger truth than that. I think content...
Hold on. So let's just split it here. I want you guys to try and tell the difference between the two cameras. One of these cameras was bought maybe 10 years ago for about £700, and one of these is a phone. In the comments below, drop down which one's which. It doesn't even matter in this video, right?
Yeah, let's find out who's using what type of camera. But our real experience, we didn't even buy equipment for the first podcast recording. We hired it. I can't remember the website.
Fat Llama,
right? Yeah. So we hired the So our first piece of content that we genuinely created was a podcast in a friend's office. We borrowed the mics, we borrowed the podcast gear, we borrowed everything. We never bought anything, right? And I think Ali Abdal bangs on about you can create content with your camera, your iPhone, your Android phone. It's so good that the cost of content creation is so cheap that it should definitely not hold you back at all.
Shall I tell you what's even cheaper? What? You can enter the content space now without a camera, with nothing but an internet connection. So like the Peerr platform we have, right? People have started writing articles, blogs, writing about their experiences. You know what? To enter the creator economy, if you're a bit wary about going on video straight away, write. It's the most comfortable feeling ever, because it's easy to do. It's easy to write. You're behind a screen, you're protected. No one knows really who you are apart from seeing your profile, right? So if you're scared about speaking on camera, write away. Start by writing and then transition over to video if you want to do video, of course. So is it expensive? Really and truly, it can cost you nothing to get started. You can start with newsletters, blogs, articles, all without a camera, all without a microphone, all without lights. You need an internet connection. That's it. That's it.
Talking about cost, the cost of time. Tell us a bit more about the cost of time, because you are the one that edits the videos. You are the one that designs all of this content online more so than me. Is it really time consuming?
So let's talk about the value of time first of all, right? You're talking about everything has an opportunity cost, all right? So you're saying, is it worth the input of my time in editing and building this whole thing and YouTube videos and whatever we do, right? Is it worth doing it over, say, something else? If you're a student in particular, Ali Abdal posted this the other day, getting 5% higher on an exam or putting in a bit more effort on your video editing and stuff like that, you're going to get more compounding rewards from your input of developing a personal brand, being in the content space, right? For us, probably the same thing, right? We can do these videos, right? People can discover us, people can understand how we think, what we do. That's worth a lot more than me, I don't know, publishing a research paper in a field that I'm not interested in, that I'm never going to go into. So it's worth my time. Then you have technological advancements, right? Professionals, and we're speaking to them mainly, especially through Peerr, we're speaking to them, right? They're going to be saying, I'm far too busy. I'm a consultant, I'm a lawyer, I'm an investment banker. I'm far too busy to create content. Well, guess what? There's now Canva, which allows you to design. In a minute, you can design a thumbnail. In a minute. They've got templates. You can just put in your letters in a minute and do it. AI, describe what you want. It's there for you, right? Editing, AI. There's the Adobe podcast editor. So if your mic is crap, Adobe can take that, make it sound like a studio. If you want to cut up reels for Instagram and TikTok, AI does that now. These are tools that are doing it in minutes, right? So is it a time sink? So you've got the value of what you're doing, right? And whether it's worth it. And then you've got creating that value almost instantaneously. So are you really ever too busy? What's your take on that?
I agree with what you said. And the other thing that's worth mentioning is speaking to a few of the creators on Peerr and other platforms, you realize that they enjoy the creative process. So content creation shouldn't be a burden. It should be something that you enjoy, something that you thrive off. And if you are enjoying the process, if it's like a hobby, if it's a way for you to kind of de-stress and upskill, then it's probably one of the best investments, right? Because you're investing in yourself. So even if it does, and let's be honest, let's put our hands up, it does take some time to create good quality content, to design a good blog or write a good blog. But if you enjoy that process, then is it really a waste of time? You gain something from it, right?
Exactly. And in another video, we'll be going through like the benefits of being a content creator. The truth is, it's the investment into yourself. I think I saw Mustafa from Big Picture Medicine say this. Everyone's always investing their money into stocks and shares and crypto, right? Don't forget to invest in yourself, right? The way you think, the way you communicate, the way you write, the way you're on camera, public speaking, all of those things, invest into yourself. So that's pretty important. Let's talk a little bit about, people say now, being a creator is not sustainable, right? It's not sustainable. What do we think about that?
So I get where they're coming from, and there may be an element of truth to it. It's based on the fact that we live in a very rapidly advancing, innovating world, right? There's a trend overnight and it gets phased out by the time you manage to get a video up, recorded, edited, put a sound on it, is something new has taken over, right? So I do get that. But I think when it comes to content creation, especially as professionals, there are things you can do and do it in a very strategic way. The nature of things are things change. There's trends, but I think adapting your style, adapting your content to it is good. And sometimes you need the changing trends for something to go viral.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the whole thing about trends is that there's always a new one. There is always news, okay? There is always something happening. And I think, and this is why content creation is not easy at the same time. Whilst we're saying it's easy to enter, it's not easy to always do. It's because you need to have that adaptability. But then again, don't you need that adaptability as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a banker? Don't you need to know about the trends as a banker? Don't you need to know about the trends of what's happening as a solicitor? Don't you need to know about the updates that are happening? These are educational things, right? And there's also a lot of educational content creators. There are a lot of doctors out there just teaching the public, right? So whilst trends, yes, they're trends. They die out eventually. There will always be a new one, right? But the thing is, the times mean that there will always be something to adapt to. And it's all about being adaptable. Talking about that now, talking about it being a bit difficult now, I think a lot of people say, oh, it's not really a proper job, right? It's nothing. Talking about proper jobs, what do we think about the future of being a content creator? Right now, it seems like you're a content creator or you're a XYZ, right? What do we think about the future?
So I disagree with the terminology job. I don't think content creation should be a job. I think the problem with saying it's a job or it's not a real job, you're just a YouTuber, it comes with negative connotations, right? I think content creation should be part of your branding, part of who you are, part of your career. And I think we were talking about the other day where the way things are going, as time goes on, professionals like bankers, like doctors, lawyers, they will be creating content for their careers, right? Not creating content as a side income or side hustles, but to kind of put themselves out there to build a brand, to make more deals, to get more lucrative positions, to do well in the interviews, the stuff to talk about, right? Exactly. And I don't think saying it's not a real job, I get where they're coming from, but it's the future's going to be an adjunct, right? People are going to be creating content in addition to, let's say, their 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've said it, hit the nail on the head, essentially. A lot of people in the future, mark our words, okay, because it's our vision, right, will have careers, will be like they are today. Doctors, consultants, surgeons, entrepreneurs, founders, and will have a content stream, okay? They will do that because of the love for it, their personal branding, lead generation, marketing. They will do that because they enjoy it, right? As humans, we're social creatures. We want to give back. That's a natural thing, right? Doctors give back. They say, at interviews often as a medical student, I think the most common answer is, I want to help people. Well, guess what? That's not exclusive to doctors. It's also for the bankers, the lawyers. And the way they also want to do it is they want to help people into jobs. They want to help people pass exams. They want to help people through cases, right? So I think, like you said, every single person in the future will have their main career and will also have some sort of content stream. It might not all be video. It might be coaching. It might be a course that they teach because they're very good at, data analysis, or they understand, for example, in the digital health space, right? It's really hard to understand the legal framework currently, right? So they might understand that really well. And for entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, they might want to learn that off them, right? So everyone will have a career and everyone will have a content stream. Why don't you quickly just plug where they can start as a content creator, as a professional?
I think the best place, without a doubt, to start is Peerr. Make sure you check it out. It's a platform where you can create blogs, articles, coaching courses. There's some form of content creation for everyone. You can go on the website. We've got built-in wizards. Me and Ams are always on hand to help you. Check it out. We'll leave a link in the description below. But I think it's a good way to start that content creation journey, especially if you're still nervous, especially if you don't want to get in front of a camera or on a social platform which you think isn't suitable for the content you want to create.
Yeah, You see all those things we talked about, it being cringy, time consuming, it's expensive. All of those things we negate. Yeah, our platform's full of the professionals, full of people in digital health, consultancy, doctors, accountants. It's easy to create stuff, so it's not time consuming. And we're working on a few things behind the scene as well. So if you want to start your journey on a platform, on a single platform, right? A platform that can do pretty much, I'd say, any type of modality, you want to go to Peerr. That's www.peerr.io. In the next video, we're going to be talking about how everyone's going to have a career and be a content creator because of all the perks and benefits that come with it. And we're going to break that down. See you in the next video otherwise.